I did say I had to make a short and long form video explaining Xuan Pin properly. So if you guys want the short version, you can check out her short I made up here, or I'll link it in the descriptions down below. But by the end of this video, you will get a firm understanding of what Xuan Pin does without reading that massive wall of text. And you'll get a little story depicting how her skills work. I know she's not easy to understand for many, but if I had to summarize her in one sentence, I would consider her the strongest attack buffer. But how did I come to that conclusion? Well, I'm going to break her down for you guys exactly the same way I dissected her kit to come to that summary. Come, let me take you into the mind of Sterby. Ta-da! Welcome to the mind of Sterby. When I first read her kit, the first thing that was thrown at me were the insane amount of gold buffs. And so immediately, I thought I wouldn't understand how the hell she would work without understanding what these gold buffs were. And so that's exactly what I did, and now you're gonna watch exactly how I decipher an Esper in action.
Yeah, boy.
We start off with the general buff. This buff is given to Xuan Pin at the start of the battle and no one else can have it. It basically says that Xuan Pin will always call for an assist attack from a random ally when she attacks, and reward the ally who assisted a stack of soldier. When she dies, all gold buffs granted by her disappears. And that got me sus, so I started skimming through all her gold buffs and realized, yo, this is Xiangqi. Her entire kit revolves around chess, but the Chinese version. I used to play this in school with my friends back in the day, and then it dawned on me, ah shit, she's going to be a very offensive support Esper. Because in Chinese chess, contrary to standard chess, the gameplay is very aggressive. The entire premise of Chinese chess is to infiltrate the castle where the general and advisors are and defeat him, and that's usually done very aggressively. And that got me excited, so I dived back into reading what these gold buffs are, but now with the intention of seeing how canon these buffs are in relation to the pieces in Xiangqi. Soldier is a stackable gold buff that increases your attack by 1% per stack with a max stack of 5. Nothing really fancy, just like how every pawn is in chess, but with a slight twist. Once it reaches 5 stacks, this gold buff transforms into Chariot for 2 turns. Now that's an interesting way to introduce the Rook into the game, huh? So what does Chariot do? Well, for 2 turns, you get 10% attack and 50% speed. That's pretty similar to how a Rook moves, since it can move any number of blocks on the grid horizontally and vertically. That's crazy. An extra 50% speed helps out a ton of DPS that I want to run without speed. Okay. I'm getting a little excited, let's move on. Horse is just a damage amplifier that is based on how high your opponent's max HP is. When I read this skill, the first thing that came to my mind was, what a sick prank to play against Jin Yuyao. You're telling me that I get the horse buff only to smite down another horse? Lilith sure has a way to troll, don't they? Then finally we have the cannon buff. Man, I was excited to see what this buff did, cause if you guys didn't know, Cannon in Xiangqi is an early game decimator. It moves like a rook, but to capture a piece it has to jump over another, and the board is full of pieces in the early game, so you have to watch out when this cannon is going to randomly nuke a piece hiding behind something. Then after that you have to reposition your cannon to take another piece. And that ideology was translated into the game with the effect, ignore 25% defense when dealing damage and get stunned for a turn. Are you enjoying this so far? If you are, make sure to boop the like button since it helps me reach more people and it tells me that you like content like this, so I'll make more of it. So now that I understood what these gold buffs did, I began reading the actual skills on her, starting with her S3. Her S3 is an attack that team attacks buff and grants 1 stack of soldier to a team. She will also give the horse buff to 2 of your highest attacking allies for 2 turns. This attack does 10% true damage based on your opponent's max HP and inflicts miss rate up for 2 turns. The passive of this skill basically grants Xuan Pin the general buff and soldier buff to everyone at the start of combat. So right out the gate, you have 1% attack increase on every Esper except her, and when she uses this skill, she will grant another 40% attack and damage amplifier on 2 of your damage dealers, and another stack of soldier to whoever that assisted her in the attack. S2 is where she grants 1 unit the cannon buff while giving it 100% AP. This skill is also an attack that dispels shields and defense breaks your opponent's team. Now remember, general buff is still on her, so someone on your team will be assisting this attack and she'll be granting another stack of soldier to it. And then her S1 is just an attack that gives 15% AP to your ally with horse or chariot buff. Essentially, she just mobilizes your DPS so that they can take more turns. And guess what? This is also an attack, so she'll be calling in for another assist, again, from someone on your team and rewarding them with a stack of soldier. If you're still finding trouble understanding her, here's a simple story to help you piece all of this together. The war horn echoed the battlefield, and Xuan Pin's soldiers are ready. She releases a war cry and boosts all the morale of the soldiers to charge forward, led by 2 knights on a horse. War breaks loose and the clashing of sword and shield fills the battlefield. Xuan Pin notices that one of her soldiers is performing extremely well, and to make sure her high performer performs even better, she conjures up a chariot to enable more havoc to be wreaked, swaying the winning favor to her side. As Xuan Pin's army starts dominating the battlefield, she notices a gap in the war zone and immediately calls upon a cannon to penetrate the defenses that is the weakest, exploiting and seizing the opportunity for her soldiers to penetrate the defense. And from there, victory is assured. And there you have it, Xuan Pin explained in her entirety. She's an amazing fit in the aggro playstyle, so I've made a video explaining what aggro is. So if you want a deeper understanding on how this playstyle works, check out the video and I'll see you there.